Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast, global broadcast of the TTO radio show, the Total Takeover Marketing Explosion. I'm Andrew Morgan, your host from San Marcos, Texas. We have a good panel today, and we are going to be talking about creating credibility. You have any credibility? If not, you need to create some. And let's get into it right now. Let's go over to Tracy. Tracy, I'm going to wait just a second. Carl has a little bit of tickle in his throat today, so let's give Carl a little bit of break, all right, and try to keep him from talking as much as as we can. But I'm sorry, Carl, you just got too much to say. We're going to have you talk some. Tracy?
Good morning. Thank you, Andrew. I don't think it's possible to keep Carl down and keep him quiet. So, you know what? But anyways, yeah, creating credibility, a great topic today. That's what this industry is all about. It's about being credible in the marketplace. It's about values, it's about integrity, it's about leadership, it's about personal branding more than anything else. So, I think that's probably it's that chicken and egg scenario that people talk about in this industry is when you first get started, well, people aren't going to join me until I can prove I can show a paycheck to them. Well, you're not going to show a paycheck to them until people are going to start, joining your business and being part of that structure. So, that's a really good question. But, it's about your enthusiasm about what you're doing and people's belief in you believing in yourself. So you have to be credible to yourself before any of this even starts to happen. But I was always, taught when I first got started in this industry too, that it's about borrowed credibility. If you don't have credibility or you don't feel you have credibility, then you can always borrow that from your upline. And so when you start, when you're working together, it's all about edifying everyone and, doing the three-way calls or whatever the case may be. It's about when you get on that phone, I mean, you're so very excited to introduce someone to your upline who has credibility, who's been in the industry for a long time, who has a good network of people, and they have a track record, and they've got the values and the integrity to go along with it. You know what? You can say, this is who I'm partnering up with. This is who I'm going to do business with because of these values. We've gotten to know each other, and this is my marketing partner. So people have to understand that, and of course, then in return, then your upline will do the same back for you, and creating the credibility for you as the third party, saying, yes, this person is a great friend. They've got such a great history as a professional, and we're really looking forward to doing all these things together. So what you have to be able to create that persona for yourself, and then as you're doing that, you're also going to be starting to brand yourself in this industry. As we talked the other day about, people will only see you as who you were doing what you did. Again, from the grocery industry several years ago, people in that genre can't understand why. Maybe they're confused, maybe they don't understand why you've chosen to go into the network marketing industry, so they may not think that it's something credible that you're changing or whatever the case may be. So there's got to be a lot of that third party that's going to validate who you are and why you're doing it and what you're doing it, and of course the environment that you're in too. That has to be credible. The company has to be credible. So it's about your enthusiasm, which is huge, because people are going to hear from you the excitement more than they're even going to hear the words that you're going to say. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of components. I mean, are you a credible? Let's ask the first question of all. Are you a credible person? Are you honest? I mean, do your friends trust you? Do people view you as being someone that they would want to partner up with as a marketing partner too? So you build your credibility long before you come to the table in this particular business or in this particular industry. It's who you are. And so, we're always working on that individually of who we are, so that people will become better people through this industry, through the process of network marketing. You know what? You've done this for many, many years before you even got to this table. So I want to start it out kind of on that platform, and then everybody can maybe just sort of add to it. So Carl, I know you're not feeling well, but I know you've always got something to say. So buddy, over to you.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I've got a cold here, folks. But yeah, just a few things I want to add to that. I actually had a conversation with Andrew today, and we were just kind of talking about how to build your credibility. And some of the ways that I do it. I mean, some of you that might be following me on Facebook, you'll see that how you build credibility is by showing proof of growth, that sort of thing. Show people that you're focused in one direction, you're not all over the place. People that are that tend to go and join multiple businesses all the time, their credibility starts to slip a little bit because they show instability. Okay, so one of the things that I've strived to focus on personally is when I get involved in a business, I keep that focus on that business. I mean, there's some people out there that have multiple streams of income, but you got to learn how to balance them properly, and that's and when you finally get to that point, that's how you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to gain that credibility from other people. Okay. People are going to follow you. They're gonna watch you. They want to see, if you're stable, and stability has a lot to do with credibility. Okay, so this is why if you watch like some of the posts that I've done or other marketers are doing out there, we're posting regularly. Okay, across social media. Like I'll do, like I say in my 90-day plan. You do your post in the morning, you do a midday post, and then one in the evening. And what I'm doing is I'm showing the growth of my business within Total Takeover, right? And that's where people show that, okay, not only are you stable and that your business is growing, but you're showing that the company is stable and the company is growing. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that have to do with creating credibility. And one of the things that Andrew and I talked about earlier today was about, what if people don't have any kind of a downline or any kind of credibility at this point? Well, this is when you take advantage of the growth of your overall team. You could use posts that I post. You could use posts that Tracy posts. You could use posts that anybody else within Total Takeover that is having results. Use those posts to your advantage, saying, look, here we're seeing growth. There's growth within this team. There's growth within the company. Post that kind of stuff, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for companies that are stable, that are growing, that sort of thing. And a lot of that doesn't happen in this industry. We get a lot of people, all they want to do is show their links. Well, it's one thing to share a link with somebody, but it's another thing to show the credible part of the company, the growth part of it. Share something of value. If you have, a technique you use. Like, what I would like Andrew to do, and maybe any of the others on here, is go through and do an example of, let's say, on Facebook, how you would connect with somebody on Facebook and to build your credibility with them. That kind of thing, or on LinkedIn, or on Google Plus, or on Pinterest, or wherever the social media that's out there. If you're doing a solo ad or something, don't make your solo ads be hypey. Make them be personal from you. This is why I think I have so much great results from the solo ads I do, because they're not a generic one. They're a personal one from me. Okay, and when you start doing personal solo ads that are personal to you, like it's a one-on-one conversation, that's where the credibility starts to build. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to share for right now before I start sneezing and sniffling. So I'll send it back to Andrew, to whoever he wants to pick on next.
Cool. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Tracy. If you'd like to participate, we'll ask you to call in. You can find the call-in number on ttoradio.info. All the instructions you need to call in are right there. ttoradio.info. Yeah, Carl, you know, you and I talked. I wanted to approach this days ago. Whenever I got with Carl, and I asked Carl to treat me like I'm a brand new newbie in the industry. I don't know beans about network marketing, and show me. So what do I do next, so that I could establish in our team what Carl is teaching to be what some people call, we don't really like, but call duplicable, replicatable. So I can help create a situation, not from me, but from above me in the organization, to replicate a particular success method. So I chose Carl's because I was watching him previously, and he has a training ability and the ability to put together a package, which he's done. It's called the 90-day plan. So I have tapped into that, and I'm being the model. So I'm here to give you permission to go and copy what your successful upline is doing, plagiarize it for yourself, and personalize it for yourself. If they make a post, copy it, plagiarize it, you make the post. If they make a statement that's true about the team, that you plagiarize it, personalize it for you, that's true about the team, in order to replicate what the elements that your successful upline is doing. So I'm here to position myself to model that for you. That gives you permission to do it. You may want to talk with your successful upline and let them know you want to do this and you want to plagiarize their activity. So they do a lot of the work for you, and it's the same thing the team is doing. How hard is that to teach to the new people that you bring on? So let's move across the panel here. I see the word SALUD, but Carl, help me here. It's
Alejandro.
Alejandro, I don't see you in the camera, but if you'd like to weigh in on this, creating credibility, then go right ahead. There you come. Be sure and unmute yourself. Alejandro. Still muted, Alejandro. Need to unmute yourself.
Okay, here I come up with a very great question. Cheers. The talking for today is credibility. You have the word, Andrew, creating credibility. How do a very new person manages to create credibility? I think by now in this field, the only way I do have right now is to stay and stick with all of you and take the road and be behind you and create more or less the same image that you are already have made. Am I true or not? Your word, Andrew.
That is true. That is true, Alejandro. It's kind of like the flu, and Carl can attest to this. You see, if you want to catch a cold, or if you want to get the flu, what have you got to do? You've got to get around somebody that has that bug, that has that flu or the cold, whatever flu or cold you want. You have to get around somebody that has that particular bug, and then you get it. Well, it's the same here. If you want to attract people who are looking to make money on the internet in a professional manner, then hang around with those of us who are attracting people to us who want to make money in a professional manner. And it's just you know, birds of a feather flock together. You just have to decide whether you want to hang out with the chronic complainers and the ones that affirm negative and lack in their life, or do you want to hang out with people who have already been there, done that, and who have been renewed in their mind and now speak and act different and attract things. So yes, Alejandro, I would say that that is correct. And back to what we were saying, if you know, to create credibility, it has to do with persistence and consistency. People are watching you. You know, if you used to go on your Facebook page and post a comment about total takeover, or your health and nutrition company, or your deregulation cell phone or electric company, or whatever it is, whatever business you're promoting, and you put your link there and nobody signs up, and that's one post, no wonder. You have not created any stability, any reference of, you've been here a while. So it takes time to let people know that you're here and you've been here a while. And then being persistent and consistent with that. So let's move on over across the panel. I know, Lorraine, you're busting at the gut. I'm going to mute you, Alejandro, and you can come back in later. Lorraine?
Well. I'm not busting at the gut yet.
Okay, we'll come back.
I want to chime in. I just want to say great afternoon to everyone on the panel, and to those of you who are out there listening in Radio Land. I want to welcome you on this great day. My perception of building character. Building character is an action word. You've got to do something in order to get the character flowing. Yes, you can borrow your upline's character knowing that it is in good standing. But for me, I'm going to say this. When I'm building character, I want to establish the core. The core, that's the first thing that I think that we need to establish is the core. The core can be, guess what? I want to establish the core because then this way we won't violate. Building character is, again, value, morals, etiquette. All of that is building value. And as time progresses, for new people that don't have the character, guess what? Lay low. Build the character off of the people. And in order to build that character, surround yourself, like Andrew was saying, like with like-minded people. People that you want to become, people that you want to be like, but you want to formulate your own identity in the same, with that same aspect. I personally had to borrow my upline's character, and guess what? When you start borrowing character from your upline, you start to take on the image, the character of that upline. And believe you me, sometimes you step back and you say, that's what my upline exactly was. I can actually say the second word that would spit out of her mouth. Like, for instance, I have to say this. My upline right now is on this panel, and it's none other than Boss Lady Tracy Jameson. That's my pet name for her. And I replicate everything that Boss Lady says. If she calls a play, I follow the play to the truth. That's also building character, because you know what? People are looking at you. Who is the face to this voice? And I'm like, okay, well, my upline, if this is something my upline would do, if I'm not sure, guess what I do? I get on the phone, I talk to her, and if I'm in a conversation and I can't get her and someone asks me a question, I can say, well, I know for a fact without a shadow of a doubt, I can spit it verbatimly what my upline would say. That's another way of building character. Guys, I'm just going to step back because I am building character right now. Because I have been in network marketing for many, many years. And guess what? To each network marketing business that you move to, there's a different persona, there's a different character that you need to build. Yes, you can keep the character that you have, but you have to constantly add to your character so you can have a little flavor. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Lorraine. You always have a lot to say when you say anything, and it's always good. Okay, let's see. Joan, you're next. Talk to us about creating credibility.
Well, credibility has to start with you. And you have to look at yourself and you have to decide what it is you're all about. what it is that will draw people to you. Are you honest? Do you have integrity? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you always put the truth above everything else, even though it may mean that you have to suck it up sometimes because maybe you said something that really didn't have the ring of truth? You've got to go back and you've got to correct that, because people are going to join you because of what you're bringing to the table. Another way that you build credibility is, what are the masters doing? The first book that I ever read really helped me appreciate what credibility was all about and what hard work was all about. And that book really, really helped me to appreciate what I needed to do to put my foot forward to offer the best that I had to offer. And I think that everybody has to really search down deep within themselves to bring that out to the fore. Because if you've never interacted with people on a large scale, if you've been sort of clustered, maybe you've been a housewife and you've really never had the opportunity to bring out what's in deep inside you, then when you come into network marketing, you're being faced with new people that you maybe had never met before. So what are you bringing to the table? What are you offering them that is going to draw them to you? You really have to do a lot of soul searching and ask yourself, what is it that I would really want to, type of person would I really want to be involved with? And you've got to work on those things inside yourself to build up your credibility. And you do that by talking to people online, sharing with them what your dreams, what your aspirations, what your hopes are for the future. You've got to really post online what is inside you so people get to know you. They get to understand where you're coming from. And that doesn't mean posting online things that people want to hear. You've got to post what people need to hear. And so if they need to have a positive response from you, they're going to look at what you're all about. And I feel that by posting online, you're starting to tell people. You can do it through blogs, you can blog posts, you can do it through posts online, through talking to people one-on-one, and really get into a serious conversation about what you're going to do to help them and what you've done in the past that's worked for you. These things are really, really important. So people need to get to know you. They really want to know how you tick, what you stand for. And this helps build credibility, not only in yourself, but credibility in the person that you're reaching out to.
Thank you, Joan. Let me mute you out there. You can come back in when you need to. That sounds a lot like being involved with someone and developing a know, like, and trust factor in a working relationship and sharing what edification back and forth. Edification leads to credibility. Whenever I have a new team member that's brand spanking new to the industry, and I see that they're not brand new to some ethics. They may have an ethic of taking my assignment, and I say, John, call me every day, sometime in the a.m. Even if I'm not there, just call and say, hey, it's John checking in. And John calls every day, and I hear a message on my machine, hey, this is John, I'm checking in. Click. Then over a period of a few days, I get the realization that John is serious and he's providing himself credibility with me, and then I can turn around and edify John as a credible person and a business builder, because John is showing up and doing what it takes to learn and build. So edification has a lot to do with it. And I think that's a lot of what you were talking about there, John. Am I not correct? Okay. I tried to unmute you. You can't unmute people on here. I wish we could. So let's go over to Bill then. Bill Jackie, what's your take on creating credibility, brother?
Well, it's like everybody says, you know, you can always go upline if you don't have any credibility of your own. But you know, another cool thing is when you're in this industry, you don't have to necessarily stay within your industry. I mean, for whatever company that you're with, because there's so many people that are networking out there that have so much credibility, and you can always get with any one of them. You know, you're always going to be friends with people outside of the company. You know, it's just kind of like when you're working in a factory, you know, except for the fact that, I mean, when you first start your job there, you're nothing, you're nobody. But as you work and as you build your reputation on in that company, people start to like you, they start to depend on you, and that's credibility. And it's no different than the network marketing. The only difference is that, you know, somebody over there at that company over there, you can go over there and have credibility with that person as well. So yeah, credibility, man, it's something you build as you go along. And again, yes, use your upline's credibility. And the more people that you talk to, the more knowledge that you get, you know, because just like hanging out on this panel, that's credibility for people. You know, get on here, get people looking at this, and they see you every day, and they come to know you, and they start spreading the word, and next thing you know, you got a lot of credibility. So, back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Bill. It's good to see you again.
Yeah. Good to be back.
Cool, cool. Is it cold where you are?
Not really. We've been having some 40, 50-degree weather, but somehow or another here the other day, 4 inches snuck in on us. So.
Change occurs. All right, Bill. Look, I know Tracy's taking notes, so let's go over here and find out what Tracy's taking notes on.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, you probably seen me writing, and you know me, I always got my notebook. I am, because you know what, this is really great content, and I want to, you know, you kind of pick on me first to set the tone a little bit, which I'm fine with, because you know what, it's great about getting people's minds expanded and getting different viewpoints, because everybody's got, you know, everybody comes into this industry, you know, at the same point, but you know what, there's a whole bunch of things. I really believe that the biggest challenge that we face personally in our life is trying to figure out really who we are. It's all about who we're hanging out with, as Val says. He says, you know, it's who you know in this industry, and you know, when you first get started, you might be a little timid, and you know, you're gonna, you know, as we say, we always want to sponsor up for people, you know, because you want to be in an environment where you're always going to grow. So that's probably a big challenge for a lot of people, because they don't have the confidence. But you're right, Bill. Part of the credibility building is what you do, who you hang out with, and here's a great spot right here on our Hangouts. You know, we've got some seasoned veterans here. We open the platform up for everybody to participate on the telephone, on the Skype phone, whether they want to even participate on the panel like we have our panelists here. I mean, that opportunity is open for people to get some credibility and get some exposure. Carl, like what you were saying, I mean, it's all about exposure. If nobody knows about you, how the heck are you going to get any credibility? So as people start seeing your posts out there, they're going to see your posts on Facebook. Yeah, you're going to be consistent. You're not going to jump around and every day post something different up there. That is huge in this industry, because if you get known as a program jumper, man, it's hard to shake that. So people want to know that you're going to be stable as well. You know, and it's all in your personal branding, because if you have to, I mean, I'm a big believer in the personal branding. It really is part and parcel to it. If you haven't gone out and purchased your name as a domain name, go and do it today. Whether you get a website built yet, or a blog, or anything to attach to it, even if you just forward your company link from your domain name, your actual name to the company link. Even if you do that, at least your name is becoming visible. You can use your name out there. So it's a process of creating that credibility as well with the personal branding. Keep expanding on that. Get some videos out there, whether you're posting the company videos, whether you're posting the compensation videos or whatever, but post it with your name so that you've got it attached to you as well. You know, Lorraine, you really nailed it too. I always love what you have to say. You know, and I do this with my upline because he is so gifted at his dialogue and what he can bring to the table, that I never miss a moment with my notepad and listening to the dialogue, listening to how he says things, watching the body language, watching what all of that, these are all communication skills. And that's what this industry is about how you communicate with people and whether they're going to remember you. You know, how you make that create that relationship. So when you do that, you know, then that's about the credibility, because they'll remember you, they'll remember components about you, and when you have the conversation with people, you know who you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody on Facebook, for heaven's sakes, go and check out their profile, their posts, go in behind, check out some of their images, so that you know what, you're creating credibility with this person, that you care about them because you've gone and taken that time to go and find out exactly who they are. You know, and again, Andrew, I really like what you said about, you know, giving your, you know, you've told somebody, okay, listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to phone me every day so that we can get, you know, check our progress. Let's talk about, you know, stuff, get to know each other better. And you know what? This person is now building credibility with you as whether they're serious about their business as well. So there's a two-way street here going on, people. That you have to understand that, you know, everything that you do is going to affect whether you're a credible person. You know, and here's the biggest one of all. And this is where the really, the higher echelon in the industry, you know, maybe sometimes things are not always going to be smooth. There's going to be hiccups that happen in your business, maybe in the software sometimes. Maybe there's, you know, some things that have happened to us in the past where, you know, companies have done things that were unethical. I think we've all had that happen to us somewhere in our history in this industry. And you know what? When you can be strong, mentally tough, and you can stand up and speak the truth about what is happening, and you know what, people will respect you for that, and that builds huge credibility in this industry, because people will say, if I want the truth, I know I can always ask so-and-so. I know I'm always going to get the straight goods. So you know what, there's so many components that go to it excuse me, that, you know, like I said before, you're building your credibility long before you come into this industry. I mean, the people that you hang out with, you know, people could look at that and say, well, I don't know if I want to do business with them. They're really good friends with, you know, that person kind of was, you know, not so great in that other company. And you know what, and people do look. They're going to go and check you out. You know, there's a handful of people who will just sign up on a link just because they don't know any better. But let's face it, as you progress through this industry, you get to know the people in the industry. You know, like it's really a pack of people that are well known, that everybody knows each other. And as you become attached to these sort of, you know, higher echelons, I guess you would say, in the industry, you get to be well known. Don't be afraid to go and make friends on Facebook with some of these great marketers. I mean, you'd be surprised. People are people, and you have to hone your communication skills. You know, be a real person, and that's the best thing you can be, is be entertaining, be educated, you know, be caring about the other person. And you know what, that puts you head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd right out of the gates. So Carl, I don't know how you're feeling, or you got anything you want to add to that?
Well, no, I don't think. And I took the wrong meds. I took NyQuil instead of Dayquil, so I'm starting to get very loopy. So, so I think I'm just going to leave the conversation for everybody here. Hopefully I don't fall asleep on this hangout. I'm just, oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Carl, NyQuil is
It's
no,
kicking
that
the
was
crap out of me right now. So I'm just going to send it back to you guys and have fun with it today.
Could I just like to add one thing about I sort of was off track from got on the wrong subject line when I first started. But one of the things that I want to say that has helped me in the past build credibility is doing blog posts. I have my own website, and I do regularly. I post blog posts, and I also do videos. And I'll pick a subject that, say, for example, if a person is in internet marketing and maybe wants to learn how to build a team or what they need to do. And if I do a video and do a post, one of the posts that I did was on the importance of acknowledging what your team is doing and having an Oscar night to to acknowledge their success. So when you write these different posts and you're building credibility because people are starting to understand where you're coming from. They're understanding what kind of a person you are, and that builds credibility. So there are many different ways to build credibility, and I think it's important to choose the one that you're most comfortable with and work from there to grow and have people start to understand where you're coming from.
Joan, I just want to, before I'm going to hand it back over to Andrew here in just a second, you said on your first round, and I'm sorry, I did jot it down too, that you made a very strong statement about people need to know what you stand for. And that's critical because if people know that you have good, strong morals about and ethics about what you stand for, that is huge with your credibility. And I just wanted to, I missed that. I had it in my notes, and I missed that because I didn't want to make a statement to that. So good on you. That was really well done. Andrew, back over to you. Do we have any callers?
We do have callers. However, there's no callers raising their hand. We're doing all the right things, and they're listening very intently. But I want to encourage you, if you're a caller, to raise your hand by pressing *6. And do engage with us audibly and ask questions or make comments. I know you have questions, and I know you have comments. So,
and create some credibility.
Yes, create some credibility. Help us create some more credibility.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's some interesting stuff I've been hearing here. You know, I think back to a time when I first saw the network marketing concept. This guy was asleep when I knocked on the door, knowing that this family was in their own business of some sort, and I was sick and tired of working for the other fella. And so I had just learned that this family is in their own business. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what I was in for. Knocking on that door, their daughter come to the door, or actually the wife come to the door. I'd learned about them through the door. The wife come to the door, and I said, "Is Anita around?" I wanted to connect and let them know I've met their daughter, and I learned that they were. Anyway, she said, "No, Anita's not here." And I said, "Well, I learned from Anita that you're in your own business. I'm here to talk to y'all about your own business because I need to create my own business. I'm sick of working for the other guy." And she said, "Come on in, sit down." So I came in and I sat down on the couch, and she said, "Just a minute, I'll get Jim." We're talking about credibility here. Watch this. I sit on the couch for a few minutes, and then here comes this guy out of the hallway in a robe with his countenance like still asleep. He walks past me into the kitchen, and I hear him set the coffee maker. He makes coffee. He walks back in front of me. This guy in a robe, all right? I'm sitting on the couch. I wait for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, here comes the same guy in a three-piece suit, slicker than saran wrap with vegetable oil on it. All right, and he's holding a board and an easel, and he comes out and he sets it up, gets it all ready, then turns around, smiles at me, reaches his hand out, and says, "Hi, I'm Jim." And from that moment on, I began a process of building my credibility. You got to understand something. At that moment in time, being raised in East Texas, my verbiage was like, heck, y'all, and it was really, really that way. And yes, it was. And so I watched, and he drew those circles anyway, even after hearing my verbiage. And he drew those circles, and I lit up like a Christmas tree. So from that point on, I started hanging around with him and rubbing elbows with other millionaires in the industry. This was 33 years ago. And I started listening to tapes, reading books, and I made all kinds of functions all over the country. And it didn't take long for me to realize that I was going to have to create some credibility. And one thing I needed to do is change some things about myself. Listening to these tapes, I heard all, now I still have slang, I still have some of that hick stuff, but the real bad part that I couldn't stand about myself, I got rid of like with a surgical knife. That was part of my creating credibility. And then I noticed things, and you know, from that point on, I kept building my knowledge about the industry and meeting people in the industry. That's what we're doing here, is we're creating relationships. I still have some of those relationships today. I don't know how I got on that, but anyway, if you're calling, I want you to press *6 and join the conversation. So, you know, let's see, what do we want to do? You know, anybody have any burning things they want to jump in there with right at the moment?
I'm sorry. I need to comment on that story, Andrew. That was fabulous. But you know what? Here's the hard part for people is, and you did it. Tell us, how did you? I mean, obviously, it was evident to you that you needed to change something. I mean, your speech patterns definitely, and you know that's what we're saying here is, you know, Lorraine said it. I mean, she takes verbatim the things that I say, and I do that from Val because I listen to those things. But because it was how you were raised, it was the way you speak, and you felt that you needed to change that out. I think that the biggest thing that people can do, like I said earlier, is the biggest challenge we have is to figure out who we are, and then you know, expand on that, but keeping your values. But you're absolutely right. There's some things, maybe some physical things that, you know, we could change that are first impressions that really might change the way people see us. You know, the way we speak. If we're not respectful to people, if we're not, you know, speak with a smile on your face. When you're on the telephone, people can hear you smile. Absolutely. They can hear you smile. So, you know, all of that, exactly. You know, so there's a lot of those things, and you were really smart at being able to do that, at taking a good look at yourself. And I think that through the process of this industry, that the people that are the most challenged about building their credibility or saying, you know, I can't get anybody to join me, I can't build my business, all that kind of stuff, it really is just a reflection of the mirror, and maybe people need to go and take a look in the mirror a little closer at who they are really in the beginning. And, you know, if people can take an objective viewpoint of themselves as opposed to, you know, when they throw their hands up and go, yeah, whatever, people, blah, 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 you know, it really is about improvement and personal development in this industry. And I know that, you know, I like people. I love hearing those stories. I love hearing people's stories because that's what this industry is based on, is the stories, right? So, I mean, I think that people, they need to build their storylines. They need to build their communication skills. They need to be likable. And, you know, I think that, you know, our egos get a little bit bruised sometimes when we have to admit to ourselves that there's things that we probably should change. So I know, Lorraine, I know you got something to say about that.
Hold up. I couldn't wait to chime in. I want to say this, and boy, Tracy, you really got the adrenaline pumping right about now. To be honest with you, building that character, building, it all starts with self. If you could only look deep down within you and find the real, true you, then the puzzles could start to fit together. But then I want to go back one step. After you begin to find you, we got to go back to the mindset. Because once you start to detox, and when you start to renew the mind, then you're going to the next level. Because believe you me, this is not something that happens overnight. It's a process, and it takes consistency in order to get there. Because I'm going to say this, starting with me, I had to really look deep within self. And to build that character, to build who I am today, it wasn't easy. I had to learn to take the mentorship. I had my ego bruised brutally in this industry. Not only that, you're going to have to read. If you don't read, how can you tell me you are on your way and coming and being that leader? Everybody is a leader within. It's just trying to find whatever it is in there to bring it to the surface, to manifest it. And I am going to recommend a book. I'm being honest. Your First Year Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. That is the greatest book that you can ever buy in this industry if you are a baby, a virgin, a nobody that knows nothing about this industry. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I just love this topic so much, because if I don't take the lead for myself and lead by example and learn to do what it takes to get where I want to go, then tell me, how can I say that I'm leading a team? It all starts with you. Credibility starts with you. I'm going to say it again. It's an action word. Consistency, persistency. It takes patience. It takes sometimes longevity. But guys, you got to start somewhere. And believe you me, I like the way Andrew said it. Plagiarism. I'm the queen of plagiarism. And plagiarism in a good way, in the sense of I will take your stuff and make it my own. Because guess what? I'm branding me. I'm branding Lorraine St. Just at the same time. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Lorraine. I missed a couple of words of that. But what I heard you say at the first and what I heard you say at the last, I got it. You're right. And I do the same thing. I was even taught that. And when it was taught to me, someone said something really, really sharp and attractive for network marketing. I can't remember exactly what it was at the time. There's so many of them now. And so, I've learned to say, hey, I like that. I'm going to use that. I'll give you credit for it for the first 2 times, but after that, it's mine. And that's exactly what we do. Most of the things that you hear are not truly original. Most of us are either parroting what we've heard or parroting the same experiences we've had in common. So if you're walking the road, you're going to have pretty much the same categories of experiences, and then you hear us talk from different angles, different walks of life. You're going to hear a lot of the same stuff because there are certain laws of the universe that are just laws. They're there. That's what you run into. Oh, boy. If you'd like to participate, we would like for you to call in. And you can do that by going to ttoradio.info. I'm going to recite for you the number to call in right now. And that, it's not exactly right now. Because I don't have it in front of me. I haven't memorized it. Go to ttoradio.info and you will see the number. When you call the number, there's an access code. The number is 712-775-7035. The access code is 213-884-pound, and then you press the star 6 in order to raise your hand and join the conversation. I don't know where to go from here. Let's see. Tracy.
You know me, I could talk all day, for heaven's sakes. I love these topics. I love these hangouts. I think Lorraine, you nailed it again. I mean, I love your input because you're always so passionate about things. you know what? How do you gain credibility? Be passionate about something. If you're not passionate about it, who the heck else is going to be? You know, it's about if you're not going to, I mean, like you said, Andrew, plagiarize like crazy. How do you think a lot of these guys, Perry Marshall, I think, was one of the guys I listened to one time, somebody in that group, I mean, all these marketers, they, you know, if something's working, go put it in your own words. I'm not going to say something that Andrew says. It wouldn't sound like me. I would need to put it into my own terms and my own words to make it so that it sounds like it's coming from me, so people will believe me. That's credibility. If I say it like Andrew does, they're going, well, that doesn't sound like you, Tracy. You know, and being the consistency of that is I have my own language, and sometimes it's a little strange, because I will play on words, and I like to paint word pictures for people so people can understand what I'm talking about. So, you know, like you say, it is a process that we go through. Definitely the people you hang out with, but you know what? Show up. You know, wasn't that a great party last week? I don't know. You weren't there. You know, people have to participate. They have to be this hangout. I can't think of any better exposure right now. We're just a baby position right now, baby getting going on this thing. You know, we've only done a few of the hangouts. Getting a lot of notoriety, a lot of views and stuff like that. We want to hear from people. We want to hear other people's perspective on things. It's great. I mean, Alejandro, you probably have more to say on this topic because, you know, some of us are veterans, some of us are not. Some of us, you know, see things maybe like you're from a different language as well. I mean, you're seeing these, probably having to translate a lot of things, you know, from Spanish to English as well. So, you know, it's perspective too. Like I said, going back to looking into the mirror at ourselves is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. Welcome critique, because here's what your upline can do. And Lorraine and I spend a lot of time on the phone, and, you know, you have to be honest with yourself. I had a mentor several years ago. Man, he was hard on me, boy. I tell you, we go through the phone, and I'd be yelling at him and cursing his name after hanging the phone up. But you know what it was? It was all because my ego was in the way. And I would go, after I had walked around the place and stomped around and cussed his name out for about a good hour or so, and then he'd call me back later. He always knew me really well. He would call me back, and then I'd say, you know what, you're right. And you know what, I thank you for him having enough care about me and then seeing enough potential in me to spend the time to develop me and get me out of the way of myself. We are our own worst enemies sometimes, that we are not willing to change, that we think we're all that in a bag of chips, when, you know what, maybe that isn't true. So, you know what, you have to park your ego at the door, be willing to be coached, be willing to be mentored, be willing to change, be willing to develop. I know that I am not the same person that I was 6 months ago. I can tell because of my speaking. My speaking has improved. Why is that? Because of my mentor and my upline. I go to every single webinar with my notebook. I am on calls with him constantly, you know, getting a perspective from him, picking up dialogue, understanding key phrases and how to put inflections and body language in. Like you say, it is a constant growth, and the people that don't put that time in will never ever get anywhere and will never improve. So, you know, you have to kind of get out of that way of yourself, be willing to put the work in on yourself, because nobody's going to believe you until you believe yourself first, right? So the floor is open. Anybody?
Well, I think that, you know, this credibility thing is, it's like when I got started in the industry, I didn't know anything. I mean, nothing. And I got screwed quite a few times just because I didn't know anything. Getting with this last company that I've been with, I was introduced to Val, and I've learned an awful lot from Val and a lot of the people here on this panel. It's the people that you know. It's not what you know, it's the people that you know. And you learn a lot from these people, and you'll always move up listening to these people. A lot of times I talk to people and they all think, oh my God, you got all the answers, and I'm like, well, I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. You know, this is my learning process here. I'm always learning as well. And when you talk to these leaders, you're finding out that they don't have all the answers either. They're still learning as well. You know, so it's a never-ending learning process. in this business. It's everybody learning. So that's it.
You know, I wanted to bring up, so thank you, Bill. Talking about learning, that's changing, and this brings my mind back to something I was wanting to mention earlier and kind of get us on a kind of a different rabbit hole concerning this topic. Creating credibility, one thing that I did, and I continue to do, is I found something that I was weak at and figured out how to make it a strength. And one particular thing having to do with the industry, I'll tell you what it is in a second. So finding something that I was weak at, turning it into a strength. It's a lot simpler sometimes to take something we're the weakest and we really need to change and turn it into one of the strongest points. And then whenever I was able to do that, now I'm able to train on that. And what I'm talking about is the 500,000-pound phone. This right here. This thing weighed 500,000 pounds when I first started this process. And it wasn't until I joined the 500 Club that it got lighter. And even though it got lighter, my billfold was still light. I could pick it up and use it, but my billfold was still light. So I had to change some more. And I continually change different things here and there. But this right here, I can now teach people how to turn a 500,000-pound piece of plastic into featherweight simply by joining the 500 Club. And the 500 Club means having had 500 conversations with somebody you don't know because they're out there available for you to call them about your opportunity in a specified way. I was talking to Carl about this the other day. I'll start those trainings again sometime another month from now. But my point is this: if there's something that you have that you're either good at now, or there's a weakness that you have surrounding what you want to become in network marketing, and you can change that weakness to a strong point and train on it, and that will raise your credibility. There's things that you have right now that you can train on in this industry. Some characteristic. Is it how to express properly with body language? Is it how to have good eye contact? Is it verbiage? Is it, what is it about you that you have a good handle on that is of value to the rest of us that you can come and train us? Maybe it's how to use a mouse. If you know how to use one of these, if I can get it in the camera, if you know how to use one of these really, really, really well, okay, I'm telling you, there's something like 10,000 new people to the internet every day, brand spanking new to the internet. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll find those statistics and bring them to you. That's another thing. Whenever I come up with something I don't know the answer, I'm good at going and finding the answer. I'll bring that back. But there's a lot of brand new people to the network marketing industry every single day that are wet behind the ears, not even wet behind the ears. They haven't even been born yet. And if you know how to use one of these, then you have credibility by doing a training. Hey, you want to learn how to use a mouse? Call this phone number, and I'll talk you through it. And then, of course, you can grab. That's just an example, y'all. So there's all kinds of things like that you can do to train on, and then develop those relationships within that classroom setting. And then those people, whenever you taught them how to be successful at using a mouse, taught them how to be successful with setting up a Facebook page, setting up a Facebook account, how to set up a Facebook account, okay? Class. You got 20 people in the class, you teach a free class, takes an hour, you do things like that over and over, you create relationships. They know, like, and trust you. You've developed a relationship, they'll follow you anywhere. Carl, have you rested enough to say anything?
No, man, I'm barely keeping awake right now.
I understand.
Like I said, I'm almost done.
I think we go for a hot toddy and put you to bed, man. Yeah.
Well, this thing is kicking the crap out of me right now.
Oh,
I gotta do something so I'm back in shape for tomorrow.
All right.
I'm sending vibes of health in your direction, Carl.
Well, we are at the top of the hour. Andrew, do we have any callers?
We
Our
do have callers, but nobody wants to raise their hand. They're just listening.
Well, we must have great content and a lot of people enjoying the show today. I think that I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to add to this. I think we've done a really good job.
I think Joan has something to say.
Okay.
I just wanted to let everybody see the book that I found helped me so much, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book set the tone for reaching out to people in a way that's going to make them feel important. And one of the things that Schwab said is that he never, ever criticized anyone. He always encouraged people. He always reached out to make them feel important, not himself. And you know, I think that speaks volumes because we really want to edify the people that we're bringing into network marketing. We want to edify network marketing as a way for people to change their lives. And so we want to stay on top of this by really encouraging people, giving them commendation, putting them on the pedestal that they need to be on to have the confidence to move forward in this business. And I think that that's really very important.
I was going to mention that book. You just stole some more thunder. Everybody's always stealing my thunder. I was going to say exactly the same things I was going to say. You know, Dale Carnegie and How to Win Friends and Influence People was one of the first thorns in my side. And when you start reading the book, believe me, it'll be a thorn in your side for a little bit. And then you get past it, and then you repent, and then you go, okay, and then you take it to heart, and then all of a sudden you realize that you can be different. Thank you, Joan, for that. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Go get it from Amazon right away. Listen, it's time to take out your pen and paper. You're going to want to take notes. Tracy's already ready. She stays ready. So here, write down the number one, left side of the page. Visit ttoradio.info. Okay, you got that? Number one, visit ttoradio.info. Number two, scroll down and find the subscribe button. There's a button down on that page. If you'll scroll down, it's a YouTube subscribe button. Number three, click the button and subscribe to our channel. When you do that, you're going to get automatically the notifications when Carl goes in diligently every day to create the new hangout of the day. Once he does that, I take the link from the YouTube channel and I put it over on TTO Radio where you can do the click here. So we're constantly doing things here. So please do that. Please subscribe to our channel. And I want you to always remember something. By the way, thank you for everybody for listening, and thank you for all the panelists. Always remember this. It takes leaders with vision, like here on this panel, to lead people with dreams out there. Come back tomorrow, and for those of you in TTO and there's going to join TTO or whatever business you're in, let's participate in our own business the way that we would have our personally sponsored to participate. Bye for now, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.